President Trump has just called out incompetent European leaders, and he's absolutely had Sir Keir Starmer's pants down. Trump was bullish over Greenland today.
After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that? But we did it. But we gave it back. But how ungrateful are they now? So now our country and the world face much greater risks than it did ever before because of missiles, because of nuclear, because of weapons of warfare that I can't even talk about.
And here is tough guy Starmer in the Commons today.
But I do want to be clear with the House. I will not yield, Britain will not yield on our principles and values about the future of Greenland under threats of tariffs. And that is my clear position.
Oh, I won't yield, I won't yield. I mean, I wish he cared about our borders as much as he does about Greenland. He'll protect the Inuits, but not the Brits. Anyway, what's just happened in the last hour? Starmer and co. have yielded, yes, based upon a very productive meeting that I have had with the Secretary-General of NATO, Mark Rutte. This is, of course, coming from President Trump's social media. We have formed the framework of a future deal with respect to Greenland and, in fact, the entire Arctic region. The solution, if consummated, will be a great one for the United States of America and all NATO nations. Based upon this understanding, I will not be imposing the tariffs that were scheduled to go into effect on February the 1st. Right, well, bosh. That's the art of the deal, isn't it? As ever, Sir Keir Starmer is several steps behind. The Danish Prime Minister is supposed to be visiting Britain tomorrow. Yep, tomorrow. Well, it looks like Starmer's chance to grandstand has just disappeared. Every single time, Starmer is outmanoeuvred, outflanked and outthought. He's known as Never Hear Keir because he's always jetting off around the world. But that this time, he decided to actually stay in Britain and not go to Davos. So he's missed out on being part of the Greenland chat. Every decision he makes is wrong, isn't it? He doesn't know which way to turn. And he's been mugged off massively over Chagos.
That they, you know, when they originally were going to do it, they were talking about doing some concept of ownership. But now they're looking to essentially just do a lease and sell it. And I'm against that. You know, it's a reasonably nothing like Greenland, but it's a reasonably important area of the globe. Not to anywhere near Greenland, but I think they should keep it. I don't know why they're doing it. Do they need money?
Yeah, well, again, wait till he finds out that we're not actually selling it to Mauritius. We're paying them to take it off us. But Starmer is desperate, could not be more desperate to give away British sovereign territory. So what happened today? Trump has paused the UK-US trade deal because he thinks that Starmer is letting America down. Trump is now thinking of just buying Chagos and having total control over it. Cheers, Keir. Maybe instead of slagging Trump off, European leaders should listen to him. Trump teed off on how mass immigration, championed by people like Starmer and Labour, has ruined parts of Europe.
Certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable. And we can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back from different places. I don't want to insult anybody and say I don't recognize it.
He's right. Even Stevie Wonder can see that Birmingham, Leicester, vast swathes of London, Brussels, Paris, etc. have not been enriched by mass immigration. Trump closed the southern border. Starmer opened a new £70 million detention centre to ramp up deportations for illegals, and it's only a third full. Why isn't it brimming? Why aren't they all going? At Davos, Trump teed off on Red Ed Miliband's net zero lunacy.
The United Kingdom produces just 1/3 of the total energy from all sources that it did in 1999. Think of that, 1/3. And they're sitting on top of the North Sea, one of the greatest reserves anywhere in the world, but they don't use it.
He's right. Millionaire Miliband is serenading wind turbines with a little ukulele and, according to campaigners, buying 97% of solar panels from China instead of drilling for oil and gas in the North Sea and bringing all of our bills down. Trump spoke about the threat of China.
Greenland is a vast, almost entirely uninhabited and undeveloped territory that's sitting undefended in a key strategic location between the United States, Russia, and China. That's exactly where it is, right smack in the middle.
Only yesterday, Sir Keir Starmer approved the Chinese mega embassy. 208 underground chambers, and MI5 is having to move all the cables to the City of London and those cables that carry people's emails because Starmer is desperate to crawl up Xi Jinping's backside. Just to show you how stupid our leaders are, here is Rachel Reeves trying to lecture the Americans about being too close to, wait for it, China.
Now, you do have some reserves of critical minerals, but not everything you need. 90% of your critical minerals at the moment come from the US, from China. You need to wean yourself off those. Sure. Yeah, but you won't be able to do that without the help of Canada and Australia and other countries. And so for all of your strengths, we do also need to think how we can preserve some of the things that the US has benefited from in the NATO alliance and the Western alliance.
Well, at least she wasn't crying this time, but she couldn't even get her words out, could she? She's literally cozying up to China as we speak because she's knackered the economy. Trump teed off on pound shop Napoleon turned Top Gun enthusiast Emmanuel Macron.
Emmanuel Macron, I watched him yesterday with those beautiful sunglasses. What the hell happened?
He also went after the former head of the Bank of England and super lefty Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney.
Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your Prime Minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
And the message is clear. Weak, simpering, globalist, left-wing leaders who very often have incredibly weird personal lives have knackered the West. Keir Starmer rules Britain like he hates it, Trump puts America first, and he gets what he wants. There's nothing more important than keeping your money and your identity safe online. And with so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. But this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GB News viewers. ExpressVPN is offering up to 75% off, plus 4 extra months free. That's top-level security from just £2.49 a month, and you're covered by their 30-day money-back guarantee. So just click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code now. Remember, when you're online, you are often sharing personal data, so hackers can steal your information, your passwords, your photos, and your bank details in just seconds. But ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. So why choose ExpressVPN? Well, it couldn't be easier to use. With just one click, you are protected. And ExpressVPN uses military-grade AES 256 encryption, which is the same standard trusted by the US government to guard their classified information. With their new tiered plans, you can protect up to 14 devices at once and manage passwords securely. Live chat support is available 24/7, and it typically connects you in under a minute with a real person. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 75% off ExpressVPN, plus 4 months extra for free. Start protecting yourself today with ExpressVPN. Let's get a thought on my panel this evening. We have got Director of Public Services Mark Littlewood, we've got pub landlord and activist Adam Brooks, and journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. Right, Mark, what do you make of this breaking news tonight, that it appears, basically, that Trump has probably got his way in some form over Greenland?
Do you think we've finally reached peak Trump? I think we probably have today. This was peak Trump. And it's a classic way of how he operates. He reaches for the stars and then settles for the moon, right? That's his negotiating tactic. So what we're probably going to get, I'm speculating about what the content of this deal will be, is an agreement for a much stronger US-led NATO presence in Greenland, and that's essentially what he wants. I think all of this, it's going to become the 51st state, was nonsense. He overreaches in order to get what he finally wants. Greenland is crucially important to the Western Alliance. He's also, as you've said, Patrick, some real home truths here. You know, with the single exception of the United States of America, the West is not doing well. Not us, not the European Union, some parts of Eastern Europe, not Canada really, not really Australia or New Zealand. And, you know, although he has a somewhat bombastic way of doing it, he's pointing out why, isn't he? We're obsessed by carbon net zero. He didn't refer to it in the clips you said, but a perennial refrain of his, we've not taken our security seriously, either internal or within NATO, or the amount of money we spend on it. I dread to think what the real state of our nuclear deterrent is. And he is calling out the rest of the West. And look, as I say, he's got a slightly swaggering style to it, but he's right.
Well, I mean, it just makes Keir Starmer just look increasingly pathetic and irrelevant, doesn't it? When you see
we knew Keir Starmer was pathetic and irrelevant. I've been saying since Starmer came in that Donald Trump cannot bear him. He hates him. You can tell with the body language. I deal with hundreds of customers a week. I know how people react to other people. He hates Keir Starmer. And look, Keir Starmer's been following him around like a lovesick puppy when they're together, and then tries to talk tough in Parliament.
Well, and then he's, by the way, immediately outflanked, overtaken by events. We've got the Prime Minister of Denmark coming tomorrow. He obviously wanted, didn't he, to be able to put his arm around her and show, we stand full square behind you. The deal's been done. Deal's been done.
Big line today. Donald Trump said, fix your country. And that is what everyone in this country wants. We want our leader to fix the country. We've had enough. We're taxed to the hilt. Immigration is out of control. And we've got a leader that's a human rights lawyer that is on the side of the people coming over and damaging our country rather than us. Donald Trump backs his talk up with actions. Keir Starmer doesn't.
What do you make of that then, Nina? The idea that Starmer basically rules Britain like he hates it. Trump does put America first and gets results.
He doesn't hate Britain. I mean, that is just ludicrous to say that. And firstly, your reading of the situation, I'm sorry, I'm going to take exception to it.
OK.
Because you said that somehow, because there's a prospect of some kind of a deal this evening, that somehow Keir Starmer has yielded. Keir Starmer has not yielded. Only a few days ago, people were saying Starmer's not strong enough. You know, he's always been the Trump whisperer. You know, he provided the invitation to the state banquet, blah, 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 blah. He's kept him on side and been, you know, dancing on the head of a pin with that. Now, he stands up in Parliament today, and the best Prime Minister's questions he's ever had, and appeared statesmanlike, strong, and would not back down. And he made it very clear that he disagreed with that completely. He said it was completely wrong to use tariffs as a weapon, really, to do that, and that Greenland's sovereignty must be respected. Now, that's not weakness on his part. That is standing up to Trump.
But what I'm saying is it's irrelevant, Nina.
No,
he's an irrelevancy. Him standing up and saying that just didn't matter, did it?
You say that, but that was alongside all the other European leaders, and that must have had some effect on Trump. Trump is accustomed to being feted and adored wherever he goes in the States. But to come up against the Europeans who are saying, no, we won't have this, is a very different thing. And also never hear Keir. He didn't run like a puppy dog to Davos. He stood his ground here.
It's possibly the only time he should have been there.
No, absolutely not. Why should he be there?
This is the problem, isn't it? And I'm not blaming all of this problem on the present Prime Minister. The truth of the matter is it doesn't matter whether he yields or not, right? It just doesn't matter. He can give his running commentary on the situation, for sure, but it basically doesn't matter a jot. It's not influencing American foreign policy. And his calls are just weird, aren't they? The sovereignty of Greenland matters absolutely. The sovereign rights of the Chagossians matter not at all.
Exactly.
The ability of China to put in, I think, this very dangerous embassy, we're going to yield to that. I mean, it's an extraordinary potpourri of very odd decisions, which I cannot divine from it.
It looks like they're compromised. It really does look like, from an outsider, the UK government is compromised by China.
No, I would like to say that Trump is actually visiting China in April. So it's not saying
He
that...
hasn't signed off a super embassy in Washington, D.C. for them.
Well, you know, that's another matter entirely. But the thing is, we have to deal with China.
Sure,
You know, and we need to do that.
OK.
And I think Keir Starmer has been very strong. And Trump has, again, proved himself to be tacos. Trump always chickens out.
OK, all right. Well, there you go. Variety of views here. Now, shortly, I'll have all the front pages for you, so it'll be interesting to see how they pick these apart, because we have had that breaking news in the last hour or so about that Greenland deal and all of that.